All right, thank you, JJ. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all of our applicants. Thank you so much for throwing your hat in the ring. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We're going to start. I'm going to call this special meeting of the Washington County School District Board of Trustees to order. We're going to start with our roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes, good morning. Jeff Church.
Here.
Ellen Minetto. Here. Diane Nicolette here. Joe Rodriguez.
Here.
Thank you. Beth Smith.
Here.
Angela Taylor.
I'm here.
Victoria Gomez is in school. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And you see Trustee Rodriguez wasn't feeling well, so he's on Zoom. We also have at least one other applicant that's going to be on Zoom this morning. A couple others that couldn't join us for various reasons, but we are glad to have those of you who are here. We're going to start with Pledge of Allegiance. You know what? I'm just going to lead us in the pledge this morning. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. We will go to our first item. It's a very, very long topic, so I am not going to. We know that this is a challenging, difficult process, and you put yourself into it. So we're going to try to make it as uncomfortable for you as possible. You know, how do you make something uncomfortable comfortable? We won't make it comfortable, but hopefully we can make it less uncomfortable. There are three of us up here who have gone through this process with varying levels of success, so we know what it's like to be on that side. And so four of us. That was my line last time. And four of us, five of us. Actually, five of the six of us have gone through this process with varying levels of success. So basically, we feel your pain. So let me just say that we feel your pain. And again, we're glad you're here. So take a deep breath, exhale. We're going to get through this together. Okay, I'll introduce the agenda item and I'll talk about how we're going to do it. The agenda item is agenda item 2.01. Review and discussion by the Board of Trustees, the board, regarding the applications received from applicants to fill the vacancy on the board in District F created by the resignation of former trustee Jacqueline Calvert, and possible action to select those candidates to be interviewed by the board from among the following legally qualified applicants: Scott Benton, Elvira Diaz, Jennifer Fonda, Dr. John Gautney, Jack Heineman, Adam Mayberry, Bruce Parks, Heather Parkin, Danielle or Nicole Perez, Graham Reed, and John Reyes. The character, competence, and misconduct of any applicant may be considered by the board per Nevada Revised Statute 241.033, and administrative action may be taken against any applicant per NRS 241.034. And again, this is for action. And we're going into this, and let me just walk you through how this is going to go. For those of you who are here, again, welcome. We use a very scientific pull a name out of the hat method. Is that the same cup though, JJ? No. Oh, okay. It's not the same cup she used last time, but nonetheless, it is an unbiased cup. It has been screened. And so she will just pull names out of the hat, and this process today is about our hearing from you, from those of you who can be here. Certainly not mandatory to be here today or on Zoom. I believe there's one or two that couldn't for various reasons, as I said. But we want to hear from you. This is the time for the board to just for you to have an opportunity to introduce yourself to the board or reintroduce as it may happen. A couple of you have been in this process before. You'll have 5 minutes to do that. You don't have to use all 5 minutes. You don't have to use any of the time. It's totally up to you. We'll invite you to stand or to sit, whatever is most comfortable for you. During the 5 minutes, members of the board may interrupt and ask questions, just because there may be questions along the way. But then when that 5 minutes are over, we are pretty lenient before and if you're in the middle of answering a question, we'll just try to have you narrow that down real quick. But we want to give you that opportunity to make those comments. And then let's see, I don't think I left anything out, did I, counsel? I think that covers all. Then after that process, it'll come back to the board. for deliberation, including Trustee Rodriguez for deliberation and consideration, and then we will begin the voting process, and we will vote, and then turn all those votes into JJ, and then she will compile them. We'll take a short break. She'll compile them, and we'll look at where natural breaks are. We're looking for 3 to 5 to move forward. That's a general statement. We're pretty committed to not setting a firm number, because if we say 5 and there's 6 outstanding, we want to take 6. If we say 3 but there are really 2 that stand out, we just want to take 2. We want to just generally it's about 3 to 5, and then those 3 to 5 will be invited to be finalists, and then go through an actual interview process, which would be a little more formalized, and that's on November 9th. You'll hear more about that as we get to that point. So I think that covers all, Trustee Church.
Yes, Madam President. Could you refresh my memory on what the parameters are on the questions? And if the 5 minutes is up, does that mean no questions?
Well, yeah, we didn't really have parameters. I mean, obviously, we don't want to step outside of HR guidelines. We've been through this, so we certainly want to stay there. Generally, the questions have been about what it is that they're sharing with us, but again, we didn't set any parameters, what's in or what's out. We do want to stay to the 5 minutes. We don't want to continue to ask questions and so on beyond that. If there's something that's pressing, you just got to get out to anyone. Again, we were fairly lenient with this last time. I think things won't be different than last time, unless there's some reason why I think that they need to be for some reason. But I don't, as board president, I don't get that. I don't think we had any issues with it last time, so I don't anticipate it being any different. Any other questions from my colleagues? Trustee Rodriguez, you good? Give us a thumbs up or okay? All right, we will start and then all of us, we have our packets, and so we have the information in front of us. We've reviewed your applications and so on. And again, we thank you. Thank you for jumping into this process. So one more time, take a deep breath. All right, let's get through this together. JJ?
As we did before, we'll have the candidate who's on Zoom go first. So, Mr. Benton.
Welcome, Mr. Benton. Let's get you on the big screen here first, sir, before we get you started. So hang on before we get your time started. JJ's going to get you situated so we can see you're good. Okay, maybe if you start talking, then you get on the speaker view, he'll come up, right? Okay, so I'm just going to say good morning, Mr. Benton. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being here with us.
Good morning, Madam President, distinguished Board of Trustees, and Dr. McNeil. Thank you for the opportunity to be before you today in this capacity. Before I get to the reason why I'm here this morning, I want to share a little bit about myself. I'm a proud product of Washoe County School District, a proud parent of 2 amazing students who are attending Reed High School and Mendive Middle School. I have lived in Washoe County since 1994, and my roots are deep in the community. I have a passion for serving my community and have done so in several capacities in the last 10 years. I've applied for the vacant seat in District F as I believe I have a voice that is unique, a voice of diversity and inclusion, a voice of every day I serve as the Assistant Director of Operations and Compliance for one of our local homeless shelters. I have a good understanding of grant writing and distribution, mental health services, and understanding the needs of some of the most vulnerable population. I've had the honor of working within homeless services programs for the last 4 years in several roles.
Mr. Benton,
aside from this, I serve as a youth
excuse me, Mr. Benton,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're kind of breaking up a little bit, and it's actually showing that, is it our internet connection that's unstable, JJ? We don't want to miss what you're saying, sir, so your time's paused, but we want to make sure. Let's just pause you for a moment. I hate to interrupt you. Just hang on. Just pause for just a moment. Let's see if... Thank you. Hang on just a moment. DJ, tell me how you're feeling. And
Think everything is fine.
I think we're good.
Hearing anything from John. So.
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. Please, we'll make sure your time's good. I just want to make sure we don't miss what you're saying. So, please, sir, go ahead, Mr. Benson.
Thank you. I have coached cheerleading in our community for the last 19 years. I say this only to display my commitment to our community and to our children. As an appointed trustee in District F, I want to make it a priority to serve the children, parents, and teachers as a voice on the board, with every decision I make along with the board, with the children in mind. We are at a pivotal moment where the board is making smart and monumental decisions to impact the future, our children, and I want to be a part of that. My work in the community is bountiful. I have proudly served on 3 of the Washoe County School District's committee or commissions. I proudly serve as the chair of the Safe and Healthy School Commission and the Council of Family Resource Center. I also serve on the school naming committee, which allows me to understand the process of boards and commissions for the district, along with the open meeting law for the state of Nevada. I feel like I have worked with several district staff members within these roles and have developed an understanding of how boards and commissions work alongside staff to produce key functions to accomplish any task. As the chair of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission, I have a good working understanding of the safety and health issues within the school district, and a record of successful creative family and community engagement. During a pandemic, the commission was able to hold our first virtual safety forum, which allowed additional sessions and more attendees. We saw this as an opportunity for the community and parent engagement, which is a vital part of the work that many of the boards and commissions do. Another proud moment that I hold near and dear to my heart, as a voting member of the school naming committee, I was able to hear valuable community input when naming the current and new Hug High School. Understanding the process of engaging the community to be a part of these decisions and discussions is the most important part of any work with the board that I sat on. Back to my reason why. The 3 faces I go home to each night. My children, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Yes, I said a 3-year-old. All 3 of the children are adopted from right here in our community and are thriving in our schools. As a parent of athletes, extracurricular activity members, music, theater, classmates, and even a 504 student, I have a great deal of understanding of how the district works. To say it best, I value each member of the district in every capacity. It truly takes a village to raise 3 children. My mom, a proud graduate of Hug High School, raised 4 of my siblings and I in a home where we always knew what love was. We knew we had an ally in our mom, and we knew she was our best voice. I want to be that voice for my children. And I want to be the voice for the voiceless. Our family has proud roots in Nevada. As a single mom, one of the things that she taught us was that education was affordable by everyone. With my mom's passion and love, I have flourished in my career, my education, my philanthropic heart, and my most successful job, a parent. Not able to have children of my own, being a parent of 3 wonderful adopted children, 2 who are currently in the district, 1 who will be joining as a kindergartner in the next 2 years, I want to bring the commitment as a parent to assist the community partnerships to our district staff, parents, educators, and administrators. My children are the biggest reason why I am seeking the appointment of the school board. As a parent of a high school sophomore and an 8th grader and a toddler, I want to be a voice alongside the current trustees for my children and every other child in the district, and all the teachers and other staff who make education possible. In summary, my professional background, volunteer experience with the district, passion, and connection to our schools make me an excellent candidate for filling the district seat in District F. I'm prepared to make difficult yet necessary decisions and would be honored to serve in the community I grew up in.
Thank you, Mr.
for your
Benson.
time.
No, thank you very much. We'll just turn to the board and see if any of our colleagues, I think all of us feel, we don't want to interrupt you. We've already interrupted you a couple times, but any questions for Mr. Benton before us? Okay. Mr. Benton, thank you for taking time in your day to Zoom in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jack Heineman.
Oh, it's already on. Cool.
Mr. Heineman, good morning. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, President Taylor, Vice President Minetto, Superintendent McNeil, and members of the board. I hope everyone's had lots of coffee from that long meeting. I am incredibly honored to be here once again as an applicant for the current vacancy. These past couple of years, all of us have been tested, both as a nation and as individuals. This pandemic has posed unprecedented challenges and obstacles. Throughout this nation, as we've often seen, Americans from all walks of life have stepped up to the plate and have offered to fight in their own way to lessen the impact of this pandemic. Hope that when you look at my resume, you too can see that I've met that call to action continuously, regardless of the particular crisis. Time after time, I have stepped up to the plate, always willing to serve this community and, of course, our students. As you can see with my several attempts of both running and applying for this board, I'm someone who doesn't give up. See, for me, I'm not someone who packs up and leaves when faced with a loss. I get back to work, finding new and meaningful ways to serve. I've been asked by many, why do you continue to seek this position when the past two outcomes haven't been in your favor? That's a good question, but the answer to me is simple. Running on applying for this board, it isn't about my ego, a resume booster, a platform to launch a political career. The reasons for wanting to serve on this board, and frankly involved in this district, are numerous. In fact, there's about 64,000 reasons for doing so. The faces pictured behind you, the diplomas some of you will eventually sign, the names we may never know, they are the reason I want to serve. Last school year, when the district was in dire need of teachers, I decided to take a long-term substitute position. The work I did, day in and day out, it was hard work, especially with the new COVID mitigation efforts. It wasn't hard physical work, although I will add that sanitizing desks between passing periods definitely broke a sweat a time or two. But the work was more mentally strenuous. You see, the emails, the phone calls, the lesson plans, they don't just stop at the classroom door. They follow you at home, overnight, over the weekend, over breaks. You must constantly play all sorts of different roles for the kiddos. The cheerleader, the rule enforcer, the expert, the comedian, and in the event all of us would dread, the last line of defense. While challenging, I know I only received a peek into what a teacher goes through just for 2 months, let alone for a whole school year and a whole career. I know that there are so many people who are here for our kids, the board, the people behind these walls, the people in our classrooms, the people who clean those classrooms, the people who drive our kids to school, the people in our school offices, the people who volunteer their time in our schools. We're all here for our students. That's my driving passion. That's why I'm here today, to serve our students in this district. As President Taylor and Trustee Church have often said, it isn't about the D, the R, or the I next to your name. It's about the S, about our students. With only over a year left in this trustee's term, I believe that this trustee's role will be to provide stable governance and thoughtful decision-making. Additionally, this trustee will have an even greater responsibility to listen to the community and communicate the essential information everyone should know. I'm confident that I can follow through on these important responsibilities. This trustee needs to bring a spirit of collaboration to this board, especially in the face of current challenges. I'm always one to share my ideas and partake in healthy debates and discussion. I'm committed to working with the board as a team to ensure a better tomorrow for the district. We must work together as a team to make the best decisions for our kids. My greatest strength comes from both my experience as a substitute teacher, but also as a student. I can complement this board by adding the perspectives I've had in our schools from both behind and in front of students' desks. Throughout my time serving our community, I've built a reputation for caring deeply about education, always showing up no matter what. Because of my strong, genuine relationship with many throughout our district and our community, I've garnered the support of many educators and community members alike. At the end of the day, I'm a proud product of this district. I'm the result of the fantastic educators of this district and the decisions this board has made. I am ready to serve and would be sincerely honored to be selected. And by selecting me for this seat, I think you'd be sending a very clear message to our community that our youth is ready and will always be ready to lead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hyman. Do we have? I see we have a question from Trustee Church. We'll
Just
see if there are any others.
one quick question.
Yes.
You're working on your bachelor's, but you don't have it yet. Is that how I read that?
Correct. Yes. In the upcoming summer, I will be graduating with 2 majors.
Okay, with 2 different bachelor degrees.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
From UNR. Go Pack.
Go Pack. Big weekend for the Pack.
Yeah, that's true.
Other questions? Okay, Mr. Hyman, thank you so much. We appreciate your interest and your being here, sir.
Of course. Thank you, President Taylor.
Who do we have next, JJ?
Jennifer Fonda.
Good morning, Ms. Fonda. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Deep breath, right? Good morning, Board of Trustees, President Taylor, and Superintendent McNeil. My name is Jennifer Fonda, and I am seeking this position for District F. I've lived in Northern Nevada since 2004, and I'm also a resident of this district. The reasons I want to serve as the Washoe County School District, on the Washoe County School District Board of Trustee, I believe in a safe, quality public education for our current and future students. I am a product of public school, not here in Northern Nevada, Southern California, but it's still something I believe in. Every child needs to be included and deserves a good education, not a biased or a political education, a good rock-solid education about the entirety of where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. The goal is to develop a foundation so students have the brain to ask questions and encourage a system of free thinking. I am concerned too about the passing standards. We are passing students, in my opinion, that are not ready for the workforce or higher education. And we need equality in governing all our students. I feel like we can't let our students slide, or we're just cheating them out of a good education. And I feel that can come back on us, shame on us. I want to represent all groups in the community and ensure that others have a voice in making educational and administrative decisions. As a member, I will be a conduit for the concerns of interests of students, parents, and teachers. I will listen and make sure that we hear their perspectives and make the decisions that put our resources in the right place. This role includes being responsive to values, beliefs, and priorities in our communities, even if they differ from my own. I feel communication is a big concern with the school district as well. I believe I can be one that will open up that channel, allow for transparency and two-way communication. I'm sure you all know it can be frustrating if the whys behind a policy change or how funds are being spent is not clearly communicated. And open communication to leadership. The schools and the administration do an awesome job communicating with the parents, but I feel sometimes that communication can get lost as we climb up in the leadership. We should not be unreachable for questions from those we represent. I know I can help influence the district budget and the fiscal health of the district and where money is spent. I would not serve my community best if I did not ask questions about how money is spent. I can't guarantee I will always agree. I will raise questions where it's needed, and I won't cave as nothing changes if we always take the easy way out. My passion is truly the education of our students, and that should always come first. I want to share my time and talents. As a member of the school board, I have an opportunity to share my business and my life experiences to benefit our schools and community. I'm a small business owner. I own Great Basin Aviation, which is a flight school at Reno Tahoe International Airport. I work with a lot of the district's youth as my team prepares them for careers in aviation. I see firsthand where there are opportunities, especially in the STEM programs and career development. STEM is the future of our workforce. There's always going to be a need for those soft skills, but to truly prepare our students, we need to focus on what the workforce truly needs. Focus on the opportunities for a pathway to career and college readiness. Being a business owner, I understand budgets, fiscal responsibility, compromise, discernment, and hard work. I've also worked in education. I've taught a couple years at Truckee Meadows Community College, and I've also been a substitute for Washoe County School District, as well as a volunteer. I'm also an aviation structural mechanic in the United States Navy Reserves, which demands self-discipline, high-quality control, respect, and resiliency. And most importantly, why I'm seeking this position is I myself have a 15-year-old student. He's a freshman at Reed High School. I want our schools to be successful for him, his friends, and all our students to prepare them for whatever direction they choose. If chosen, I see my role is to work with the communities in Washoe County to improve student achievement in our local public schools. I will do my homework, respect my oath, and continually keep learning. I will get to know what my role is on the board, develop myself in many ways, set goals for myself, be positive, know my limits, and above all, listen to the concerns of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fonda. I do want to thank you for your service in the reserves.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah, certainly, really appreciate that. You go, Trustee Church. I'll ask after. Go ahead.
I just wanted to verify you have an associate, a master's, and a bachelor's.
I'm working on my master's.
Working on your
Yes.
master's. Thank you.
A question for me is, you said you spent a little bit of time as a substitute teacher in the district. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, so if you see my resume, several years ago I worked in the agricultural industry and crop field farming, and so during our off season, I was a substitute teacher. It was under my married name at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, for about 2 years, I subbed in different schools in the community.
I didn't interrupt and ask you because I want you to elaborate, and I don't want to take all your time. What was that like?
Oh, middle school was rough. It was lots of coffee. It was really eye-opening. It's just to see the perspective of, and see just the mix of the students in the district. I mean, I see my kid, I see his friends, but when you really get to see the district at the entirety, I mean, there's so much potential. And I go into some classes and, I think as an adult and just as the public, we get this kind of doom and gloom, like what's our future like? And you go in there and you hear some of these kids and their thoughts and their concerns and the questions they're asking. And really a lot of it just gave me hope. So it was a great experience. I found that I'm not the best substitute teacher. My patience level is pretty low.
It's a gift, isn't it? It's a gift.
It is definitely a gift. But, it was very eye-opening for me.
Thank you very much. I wanted to hear more about that, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for being here. It looks like Trustee Rodriguez has a question. I see your hand up there, sir. I see Trustee Rodriguez has a question, so hang in there. You see his little head on the screen. Hang on, we don't have your volume yet, Trustee Rodriguez. Okay, here we go. Yes, we got
me.
Go right ahead.
And thank you for your service as a fellow veteran. I appreciate you being here. I do have a question. Are you still actively serving in the reserves right now?
I am. So yes, it might seem like it's another thing to add to my plate, but yes, I am still an active reservist. And actually, if I'm chosen to move forward, I would respectfully request that it is over Zoom, as I'll be on orders at that time. So yes, I am still active.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Tell us again your rate.
I'm airframer, AM.
Okay.
It's an aviation instructor.
AM1?
No. So, sorry, not to steal everyone's time.
I got to talk that military
No,
stuff.
you're fine. So I joined the military at the cutoff. I graduated boot camp at 39, so I'm still kind of new in, and I'm only an AM2.
Okay, now I missed a little bit. I was taking, right. We have masks on. You can't tell who's talking. So yeah. Talk a little bit about you'll be on orders and so on. Just talk a little bit about that because we certainly want to honor that.
And I'm sorry to suck everyone's time, but yes. So the Navy Reserve will just be called up for orders if our command needs us for certain tasks. So mine will be doing a detachment, luckily out here in Fallon, but I just won't be local to be able to come in for a face-to-face interview.
Okay. Okay.
If chosen to move forward.
Right, no, I understand. I thought you were talking about if chosen to serve you, and I'm like, well, how long are you going to serve? Gotcha. Okay,
I'm going to make it all work.
No, I know you will. I wanted to understand, and of course, we would honor your military service, so not a problem there. Thank you so much, Ms. Wanda. I think
Thank
we're good.
you.
Thank you.
John Galtney.
Good morning, Dr. Galtney. Welcome back, sir.
President Taylor, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words this morning on my behalf. As I was leaving the house this morning, my wife asked me the question again, why am I here again? You've seen me before, you've had a chance to see my resume and so on, and I said, I still think I can help. Driving in, I gave serious thought to what I'd been through with the previous meeting between us, and I thought I should have an advantage over the other candidates because I'd been through this before. But I find in the back of my mind that it may not be an advantage in the sense that I probably know the questions you're going to ask at the final round of discussion more than others may know. The facts of the matter is I've done a lot of investigation since I last met with you, and I think many of the challenges in front of you are fairly serious and can require major decisions to be made for the community in the future. If you take a look at my resume, you'll find that I've been in education for 46 years. I've been on the good side, the bad side, and the bottom side a number of times, and so I've had an opportunity to think about, look at what needs to be done and how best to try to accomplish that. At the risk of being a little bit personal, I watched your meeting yesterday on the streaming, and I can tell you that that I really don't know when and how I was asked the first time, if there was going to be a train wreck, would you watch or would you turn away? And I want to tell you that that kept running through my mind yesterday as I watched you. And I thought to myself, do I need to tell them that I somehow or another faced that question very early in life? And I came to the conclusion I don't fit in either category. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that try to figure out how to head off a train wreck. I think in your future there are a number of very difficult questions that you're going to look at. And as you look at that, I would ask you to look at my resume and ask whether I can help you with that. If you think I cannot help you with that, do us both a favor and don't make me a finalist for this discussion. If you think I can help you with that, and you're the better judge, I really am a better judge than I am about that, then ask me to do that and I will give you the best I have available. My love for education goes very, very deep. My first college presidency, I was 34 years old. I've been president of 3 community colleges. I've been president of your State Board of Education in Nevada. And I would be honored to be a part of this board because I think you're going to face difficult times. And as you face that, I think you need to pull the community together. You need to pull yourselves together. You need to think about the issues in front of you as to how they affect 60,000 students. I don't need to tell you that. You already know. So as I close my remarks to you, I would suggest to you that you probably would know by now that my wife will be perfectly happy if you don't put me in the final round. What can I say? She's usually been probably better right in most of our life than I have, but some of you actually know my wife. Anyhow, I'm very open to questions and so on. I'm here because I think I can help you, but if you don't think so, that's fine, and I will understand and honor your decision. Are there any questions?
Do you have any questions for Dr. Gaultney? I don't think so, sir. Thank you so much for coming out again.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
John Reyes.
Good morning, Mr. Reyes. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Madam President.
Mm-hmm.
I may keep this short just because I've come here with less than ideal circumstances regarding my health. Been under the weather for a couple days, just now recovering, but voice is the last thing. So if I keep this short, I apologize. But
it's okay.
I'd just rather spare you my dialogue. My name is John Reyes. I've recently graduated from Reed High School. I've been living in Nevada since as far as I've become conscious of my surroundings. I've never always lived in District F, but it has become my place of residence over my last couple years of youth. I believe that coming in as a fresh slate with no experience on my resume of what you're reading, you don't need me to tell you that there are far better options, and people have spoken with much more conviction before I came up here. Applaud them, of course, but I believe that my fresh experience regarding the school system and enduring the effects of each and every one of your decisions regarding it would give me the freshest perspective. I graduated this summer from Reed High School, class of 2021, and I just feel that I could add on to the board with a set of goggles that would help weigh my opinion on matters of whatever you bring to the table. I've been a part of the Men of Color program, and although I don't look it, I do have Native and Hispanic blood in me, and I believed it's a program that has helped many men, especially younger men of color. And I do believe that with the proper guidance and your help, I could make fine additions to that sort of program that was so generously offered to me during my academic career. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mr. Reyes, if I may, can you tell us a little bit, and thank you for being here. I understand you don't feel well, so thank you so much. We appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about that Men of Color program.
It's a part of TMCC, Truckee Meadows Community College. They select people or find people willing or interested to basically just throw away their vacations on holiday seasons to be aided by their assistance wherever that may be. If it's a free class, tutoring, transportation, or what have you, they were willing to offer it. And thank you. I did want to put a face to that application. Just unfortunate the timing.
I appreciate it. Anything else from my colleagues? None at all. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you pushing through.
Thank you for your time and consideration again.
Nicole Perez.
Ms. Perez, good morning.
Good morning. I don't have a whole lot either, but just a little bit about myself to start off with. I am a mother of two. I have a 5-year-old son in the school district, and I also have a 2-year-old daughter. I've been an electrician for about 18 years, and I've been teaching at the Electrical Training Center for about 3 years. During my time teaching, I've had the opportunity to work with the school district, doing things like career fairs and projects with Boys and Girls Club of America. And I feel it's important for our children to know about the other opportunities that aren't necessarily spoken about too much in school, such as trades, and especially for young women who don't realize that they have more options available to them. I may not have a lot of experience in this particular area, but I do have a lot of experience with education, committees, and thankless environments. Mostly I would like to help the school district as much as I can and hopefully be a voice for the underdog in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. And it's okay, it doesn't have to be certain. Like, stay here, let's see if we have any questions. Any questions for Ms. Perez? Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate
Joe has
you.
a question?
It doesn't look like it. Oh, I'm sorry. I looked up and your hand was there. Now I see it. Yes, I got you. Trustee Rodriguez, I got you. Thank you, sir.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ms. Perez, can you kind of elaborate a little bit more with what you do instructing at the Electrical Union Training Center?
So currently what I mainly focus on is the pre-apprentice program, which is the applicants that are ready to join the apprenticeship but need to first go through the process of learning, what it is to be on a job site and what it is to be an electrician, and teaching them, which end of the screwdriver to use and things like that. And then I'm also currently doing I'm going to start doing the first year of the apprenticeship as well. So I'm the first instructor that the students see for the first basically year and a half of their apprenticeship.
Okay, I think that took care of that for Trustee Rodriguez, and we're still good. So again, thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Adam Mayberry.
Good morning, Mr. Mayberry.
Good morning. How are you? Okay. Good morning, Madam President, Trustees, Superintendent McNeil, and Washoe County citizens. My name is Adam Mayberry, and I appreciate the opportunity to be considered as the trustee appointee to District F. A little bit about me. I am a native Nevadan. I've resided in District F since 1998. I did leave the state for a few short stints, only to return back to Sparks. I attended Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, where I received a bachelor's degree in business administration. I learned to fly. But a significant hearing impairment that I suffered at age 3 from meningitis prevented me from flying commercially. Later, I received a graduate degree in political science from UNR. Ultimately, I found a niche in public affairs and communications for public agencies in our state. I served the public at our state's 2 major commercial service airports and was quickly introduced to the regulatory culture of the public sector. The experience allowed me to be tapped as a communications director for former Nevada Representative John Porter, where I supported the congressman in Washington introducing federal legislation from education to infrastructure. I lived and worked on Capitol Hill for a few years, returned to Nevada, worked for the city of Sparks as the city's community relations manager and staff legislative liaison. And today my full-time job is with the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District, where I served as the district's communications officer and engaged on a multitude of crisis communication issues and education programs. Here in Washoe County, I've been involved with a variety of civic community activities. I served on the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority Board of Trustees from 2011 to 17, and I was chair of the board for fiscal year 13. I have experience with board governance and public meetings, and in that capacity, I led the organization's strategic planning process. I've also been involved with community activities such as Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Girl Scouts Junior Achievement, and a graduate of the Chamber's Leadership Program. I served on the board of Secret Witness and at one time served on the City Sparks Advisory Committee. And since 2018, I've been teaching part-time as a political science instructor at Truckee Meadows Community College, an assignment that I truly love. I get a lot of Jumpstart students from the district. But the greatest and most important title that I own is that of Daddy to Aiden and Reagan. I'm a parent, single parent to twin teen girls, hence the baldness, but now freshmen at the Washoe County School District. I raised them by myself, entirely by myself, and I understand the concerns, the anxieties, and the fears of moms and dads, guardians, and our students throughout our school district. I've talked to them. I get it, because I share them too. I also witness the difficulties our students face, the intense pressure from today's society and their concerns of an uncertain future. And like all of you, I want to be a part of lifting up our students by accentuating the hopes and dreams that they can achieve despite the barriers. As a person myself who's had to struggle with hearing and speech to overcome the adversity to a disability, I know the importance of a compassionate public organization dedicated to providing quality education that will prepare all our children of all ethnicities and genders for their future. One of my children requires a little individual help to overcome learning deficiency, and I understand the critical needs that are required to help those who cannot always help themselves. And I know that close parent and teacher involvement along with the right resources are critical to ensure that no student is left behind. There's no problem that cannot be solved with education. I'd like to serve next to all of you and offer my voice and experience to move us forward. I'm a team player. I'll work well with others. I'll always embrace the decision of the majority if I'm ever part of the minority. I know the difficulties that lie ahead with this governing body, and my feeling has always been that if you give me a challenge, I'll meet it with joy. I want to thank you all for putting yourselves out there and doing what you do. I'm very grateful for all our educators and dedicated public servants with this organization, what they've done, what they've endured in the past few years. Thank you for your consideration, and should I be blessed to be considered a finalist, encourage any resident to reach out to me with any questions that they may have. I'm easily accessible on Facebook Messenger or other platforms. So thank you, Madam President. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayberry. Any questions? I do have a question for you. You spoke a little bit about your just how public service kind of grabbed you and kind of you've been in it since. And was there anything about it? Because you've kind of been in those roles and those, public administration types of roles. Was there something that said, I want to do this and be in the service capacity?
And I'm not quite sure I understood your question. Can you repeat that again, Madam President?
Yes. What I said was you mentioned how you were talking about your education and then how you got into a role in public service.
Okay.
So just talk a little bit about what is it about public service as a graduate, because you've stayed in those public service capacities.
Yeah, I've been in public service for 29 years here in Nevada. I certainly don't come from the academic world. I have an opportunity, though, to teach at the community college. I taught at UNR in the early 2000s before the recession. I've mentored a lot of teens, young adults through a variety of programs. So really, the public sector has been a part of my life. It's something that I was never able to serve in the military because of my hearing. I love my country, my state, my community. And so for me, public service, a lot of what you do serving this capacity is a very noble cause. And so I've been embarked on that for nearly 3 decades. Hope that answers your question.
No, it did, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. McGurry? Doesn't look like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Elvira Diaz.
Welcome, Ms. Diaz. Good morning.
Good morning, President Taylor, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent McNeil. My name is Elvira Diaz. I guess I'm seeking your appointment to fill the vacancy in District F. I'm original from Mexico City, and English is my second language. So please excuse me for my accent, and feel free to ask questions or clarifications if you don't understand me. I'm happy to repeat it. Spanish is my native language. I want to start by giving the background about me, and then I will answer the 3 questions in the rubric. I want to mention that I am a resident for Sparks for the last 15 years, and I have a son who is a junior in Sparks High School. I also have a daughter who is a lawyer already. I have a bachelor's degree in chemical pharmacobiology. And my first career was as a chemist to develop immunobiological products. I left the corporate world as a chemist to public service in the year 2000. The first role that I have as a public service was through my church in Orange County. I was the director of religious education for the Spanish-speaking kids. I started a program, and we have 500 students, and I was in charge of the 50 teachers and volunteers. By 2004, I have my child born, so I moved to Nevada. This job in the church was in California, in Orange County. Then I moved here to Nevada, and I like business, so I was the owner of Sierra Bakery in Carson City. I owned Sierra Bakery for 4 years. The recession hit my business, so I got to stop my business. And I moved back to Sparks. And from then I became an activist since 2009. In this year, when I was becoming an activist, I learned that my 5-year-old son was transgender. I'm going to mention that I am an activist now, but no, I'm not seeking an activist position. What do I want to be a board trustee with you guys? I want to be a Washoe School board trustee because in my heart I'm a public servant. I am a leader of the Latino community for many years. And in my church, they teach me that I need to serve the people. So that's how I was being born, to help people. And also, as an immigrant parent in the school district, and the parent of a transgender child, I think I'm going to make an important contribution to the board. I want to ensure that every student in the school board that needs to focus into the best higher education and then graduate for college, for high school, and then pursue whatever they need to do, going to college or do some other type of job, but they have good education. So I want to tell you that also that I have a value on connecting the Latino community to the board, because 30% of the Latinos are Latinos in this district, and I want to, as a trustee, I want to support the district with the students, the teachers, the staff, and I want to have, I have plans and strategies. I want to tell you that I'm going to commit to learn about the open meetings laws, how to get in board with what the board wants. And I'm a very fast learner. Through this pandemic, I learned how to do Zooms, how to do Googles. So I'm smart adjusting. And I know this new board, so I'm ready to work with you guys. And I'm open-minded, logical, and I'm glad to work for you. You have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Ms. Diaz. We will certainly turn to see if we have any questions from the board. I don't think so. And just so you know, we can understand you fine through your accent. So no worries at all. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bruce Parks.
Good morning, Mr. Parks.
Good morning again.
Again.
Late night last night. I would like for y'all to know that the irony of the fact that I'm standing here as an applicant for a seat that I had a large hand in making vacant is not lost on me. I also am aware that I probably will receive zero serious consideration for this position as an outspoken advocate for what the mandate of this school board is. I've been a thorn in your side for quite some time. And that's not ever going to stop. Even if you do select me to be on this board, I will always advocate for the mandate that this school district turn out kids that are ready to function in our community. I will never, ever stop fighting for that. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. That's the business of this board. And I will hold you accountable for that always. Why do I want to be on this school board? Honestly, I really don't. But I am compelled to put my name in the hat. And it has been my experience in every body that I've ever been associated with, those folks that are reluctant for the position have usually turned out to be the absolute best people we could have had. Why? Because they saw a problem that needed to be fixed, and they stepped up to the plate and fixed it, and then continued to improve. I will always be a voice for we the people. Our founding fathers gave us a great document. They created an entire new branch of political science when they put 4 little pages together. It's called our Constitution. Every one of you took an oath to that Constitution. But it's been my observation that that oath was not taken as seriously as it probably should have by some of you. I would also like to comment that while we have many applicants that have thrown their hat in the ring, have you researched any of them? Because I did. And I'm going to be real interested to find out who your final picks are. That will be real interesting. I bring a lot of skills to the table. I have more leadership skills in my little finger than some folks have in their entire families. And there's some of you sitting here right now today that, in my opinion, couldn't lead water downhill. I can fix that. But I seriously doubt that I will not be given the chance. I understand that. I can appreciate that. But the bottom line is, I'm not going anywhere. I will keep coming back, and I will keep making sure that we the people are heard here, and that we the people demand that this school board follow its primary mandate. Educate our kids. This is Nevada. We're not last at anything, nor should we ever be. But our education standards put us at the bottom of the heap consistently. And frankly, that has to change. Now, out of 50 states, I realize somebody has to be last. But if we're turning out kids that are going on to make significant contributions to our country, then I don't mind being at the bottom of that heap, but that's not where we're at. And that has got to change. Questions?
Mr. Parks was finished. I asked the question last time. How would you envision, admittedly, the relationship, so to speak, that you've had with this board? How would you envision being able to work together?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question.
You should have expected it.
I certainly do.
I'm sure you did.
I'll be honest with you. Unless your actions and what you bring forward does not focus on turning out kids that are not functionally illiterate, I'm not interested in working with any of you. That's the primary mandate of this body.
Thank you, Mr. Parks.
That's everyone.
Okay. All right, that is everybody. Let's see. Why don't we just no, we're going to take a break after we all vote, so we won't take a break right now, this moment. We're going to have some deliberation here on the board, and let's not forget our trustee, who is at home. And what we will do as we move forward, we did before, we will vote, we'll do some ranking of our candidates. And then we'll take those who have the top three. I think JJ has a grid for us that she will hand out. And your top choice gets the most points. Yes, Trustee Smith?
May I have a question?
Sure.
At what point do we do public comment?
Oh, yeah, we should do public comment first. Thank you. I forgot about that. Thank you. You don't get to vote, Superintendent.
And
all right.
I'm sorry. And may I have a follow-up? Does this body decide how many people we're voting for? Points?
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's get to our public comment first.
Thank
and
you.
then I just stopped at mid because I forgot public comment, so and that should come first. So thank you. We have gotten some public comment emailed to us as well. So make sure since we've been in this meeting, so make sure you take a peek at that as well. Is JJ?
So I do not have any cards for this item.
Okay.
Do you want 2.01? Okay. Valerie,
well, Miss Fianaka.
Valerie Fianaka. Because you always fix me.
Good morning, Miss Fianaka.
Good morning. Late night. I'm here to speak on something that probably won't make any difference. Most of you don't know Bruce Parks outside of this realm, but I know him very, very well. I know him as a team leader. I know him as a person that can galvanize a lot of disparate personalities. I've seen him bring 500 people from differing points of view to one team, to one mind, together to get a job done. That's a very hard thing to do when you're Republicans, when you're strong-willed people. I've never met anybody in my life who can lead a team like he can. I think this board needs some balance. It's very unbalanced at this point. I know y'all would like to balance it in the other direction, and I understand why the appearance in your mind is confrontational. I understand that. But trust me when I say, if you want somebody to get a job done, if you want somebody who can team build, and I know you don't believe me when I say this right now, that guy is the guy who can get the job done. Even though he's on the outside of you now, you don't see it. But I've seen it in multiple situations. I've seen it in community situations. I've seen it in political situations. I've seen it in my own personal life. The man sets a mission, never gives up on it, carries it through to the end, and is successful at everything I've ever seen him do. So don't discount the fact that he's brash and loud and seems confrontational, because he gets the job done. He brings people together, lots of people together. It seems hard for you to understand at this point in time because we've done what we've done together. But you've got to trust me when I tell you a different point of view will be good for you. It really will be. And he's a team builder. I've never, ever seen him not be a team builder. And I've had a lot of contact with him. He's scary at first. He's scary at first. I'll be the first to admit it. But he's a good man. He tells you up front exactly the truth. You never, ever have to guess about what he's thinking or whether he's telling you the truth. Ever. And that's a good thing, because that doesn't always happen with a lot of people.
Thank you, Ms. Fianaka.
Shannon Coley.
Welcome, Ms. Coley.
Hi. I've been here since February of this year. Never wanted to be here. I think we're in for a real rocky road. You guys, I'm part of you guys now. And I think you need some gravitas here. I think we need someone who has worked with boards before. That I don't think it's time for to teach someone else what's going on. I think this board needs some serious gravitas right now. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Coley.
Those are all the cards I have. The board received emails from Crystal Roberts, Dr. Jen Mortensen, Lorraine Toole, and Dr. Amber Joyner.
Thank you again. We do have a couple of emails that have come forward as well. So I want to make sure you guys take a look at those if you have not. Just email public comments that have come in this morning. I want to make sure those are part of the conversation. Okay. Looks like everyone's taking a little bit of a look. All right. All right. So we all have our ballots. First of all, before we do anything else, everybody put your name on it, because we want to remember all of our. Just put your name at the top of it. So when we turn it into JJ, our names are on there, because she will read from here and put all of our votes into public record. Just what the top. Just. No, we haven't gotten there yet. I just want to say, before we do anything, put your name on it. We haven't done anything other than that. We have a ballot, put your name on it. That's all we've done, so no one's missed anything. Oops. Okay, so let's have some discussion. Deliberation. We have some candidates before us. Trustee Church?
How come I always have to go first? But thank you very much, Madam President. This is kind of like deja vu all over again, both being in this seat and seeing Mr. Waltney. His resume just rises to the top. And, what can you say? His incredible background in education, State Department of Education, TMCC, persistent. And the thing that stood out for me, just amazing, and I'm going to talk about some of the other candidates maybe briefly too, but he didn't shy away from calling a train wreck, or whatever he wanted to say, while other people spoke in generic terms about the future and how wonderful and this and that, without any specifics. So anybody that is that up front is scores well in my book, and he did it so diplomatically that I was very impressed. I was very impressed with everything that Miss Fonda brought to the table. Very impressed with Jack. I've known him, not personally, but more or less. We've known him very well over the years. Just what an up-and-comer. Not just the resume, but just what a sharp individual. And Mr. Mayberry just shined too, with his background and everything he does and all the stuff he's involved in. As does Mr. Benton. My only question for Mr. Benton is, how do you sleep with everything you were involved in, all the boards and everything else? So those are just a few comments, but I got to say Mr. Waltney was, in my mind, at least a finalist.
Thank you, Trustee Church. Other comments, Trustee Smith?
Thank you very much, President Taylor. I think that all of our candidates are really fantastic. I think that the experience and the service that you have conveyed is outstanding. It really is. I was just very recently sitting where you are, and so I give you a lot of credit for coming up here, for opening yourselves up, for being vulnerable, and for putting yourselves out there to be considered, which is a scary thing, particularly in the public sphere. And so I thank you so much for that. With that said, there are a few candidates. This is not in a specific order. As a matter of fact, I'll just read it in the name order from the top down. And that I hear a consistency, and it's what I'm gravitating towards. And that is service. Service from different perspectives, and service in life, and then also commitment. Those people for me are Scott Benton. I appreciate the dedication he's already shown to the district and the knowledge that he has in his parent experience. Elvira Diaz, I feel the service that you have and the commitment that you've shown within our different communities is incredibly powerful, and I do believe that this board has an opportunity to bridge to other aspects of our community as well too. Jack Heineman is outstanding in my opinion. I believe that the voice he brings, he is the closest, along with also Mr. Reyes, with representing the students to which we serve, and I find him to be incredibly motivating. On Jack particularly, I'd like to say that I noted your theme of tenacity, and I appreciate that because public service is nothing if not requires tenacity. So I heard that and I appreciate it. And I was also incredibly impressed by Mr. Mayberry. I believe that the service that you've shown to multiple aspects of our communities that we live in is incredibly admirable. I believe that they all bring different voices. I am personally looking for a colleague that will add a different perspective. And I believe that these four candidates are incredibly compelling for me.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. We're just going to go ahead and just make a round.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Nicolette.
Thank you all for participating. It's I would like to shake each of your hands, and whatever happens, please stay involved. We need each one of us to make a positive difference for our precious gifts, our children, our employees, our families, and our community. So how I stick to a pattern, and I try and keep it to the topics rather than the names right now. And so what I look at very deeply are those three questions, and I look at how you answered those in your cover letter and how you reflected the information in your resumes or CV. So I look for you to talk about leadership, and I literally look for the words students, families, and community. I look for student achievement because, as Mr. Parks said, that's really why we're here, for the success of our students and to support all the resources that we need to provide them. Stewards of the taxpayer dollars. The experience as a board member, as a previous board member, I believe especially in this day and age, is a pretty strong qualification that is necessary. I would actually say to survive some of these fragile times. And so I look at that. I look at background and skills. I look for the applicants to mention vision and core beliefs. These were part of the questions because this is the fundamental platform on which we build what we do. Accomplishing our goals. That's, why have goals if you're not going to accomplish them? Budget oversight, again, taxpayer dollars. And then this upcoming year, 2022, is going to be extremely important because we will be hiring a new superintendent. And so I looked for discussion on that somewhere in your letter or in your resume. So those things are extremely important to me. And to kind of finalize it, I saw a preponderance of those topics in Scott Benton's, Jack Heineman, Adam Mayberry, and Elvira Diaz is in theirs. And so from there, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I still have to do some review, but again, thank you very much, and please stay involved, and good luck and stay healthy.
Can you repeat those?
Certainly.
Your mic.
Thank you. Scott Benton, Jack Heineman, this is in no order, Adam Mayberry, and Elvira Diaz.
Thank you, Dr. Nicolette. Vice President Minetto?
Thank you, Madam President. Well, I'm kind of going to say kind of the same stuff we've already heard. In my mind, I think Jack Heineman is an amazing young man, and his tenacity it's amazing. Thank you for your tenacity. And Mr. Reyes, and not feeling good at all, but here you are, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your youth and your willingness. I don't know if you know what you're thinking about, but here we are. Mr. Benson, outstanding, and Mr. Mayberry, really, really outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Minetto. We're going to go to Trustee Rodriguez.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no particular order as well. I guess I'll get to my list here in a little bit, but I guess just talk amongst the candidates. Ms. Perez just stick out to me a little bit. Looking at her CV and her application, does bring another form of different alternatives to brick and mortar colleges, being very involved in the trades, because after school, yes, you got colleges, got military service, but you also have the trades, which are often overlooked. I think she can be a really good advocate for that. So she just bring that background. Mr. Galdi, and Mr. Heineman, very dedicated applicants, went back. So I do appreciate their passion and offerness, willing to keep returning to this. And then, Mr. Reyes coming in sick. I guess understand that. I started coming down with something last night myself. I do appreciate him and his background, helping with Team CC and reach out to students of different backgrounds, and appreciate him coming in under his conditions as well. No particular order. And I'll say the same for Bruce Parks. Keep coming back. Another dedicated person.
Okay. Thank you very much, Trustee Rodriguez. To not repeat anything that was already said. But I do want to repeat that I thank everybody for being involved, for jumping in, especially for those who hung out late and came back early this morning, whether you hung out in person or whether you hung out online. You're still hanging out with us last night. So, and we all know it was a long night. So many important things have been said by my colleagues, and so many important things were said by our applicants. Again, I thank you. These are the things that I don't have names yet because I haven't settled into that. But I will say here's some of the things that I think that are important for me as I look for a colleague who will join us. I'm looking for a perspective that's a different perspective, because that always helps us to make better decisions when you have different perspectives. Someone who has, I think, demonstrated selflessness. This is selfless. I think it was one of the applicants, I think it may have been Ms. Fonda, who talked about how a thankless job or something along those lines, right? Just a demonstrated selflessness. Service, wanting to be involved, wanting to help. Being collaborative, I think that's really important. As you said, we have a lot of important decisions to make going forward, and we got to find a way to do it together. In spite of everything else, we've got to find a way to do it together, so we need to be collaborative. And then leadership. We are the leaders of the biggest enterprise in this community. We have a lot of people that count on us. 62,000 students, 8,000 employees, and a bunch of families, and almost 500,000 people in this community. They count on us. And leadership has to stand up. And so I think that's important as well. So those are things that are in my mind as I review what we have. I will say a couple things. Those that actually followed the rules when you submitted your packet, that's helpful. It's not a good sign if you don't start like that. That's not a good sign. And we do have that from time to time, but just something else that I'm looking for from a positive nature, but that's not a good sign, because then I can't compare everybody equitably, and that makes it difficult. So, all right, so those are my comments. So now, colleagues, this is what we're going to do, just like we're going to do like we did last time. We're going to start with, we go 5. It's our first round through. We go 5. Your top applicant gets 5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. So your top applicant, we have to do this as a ranking. Your top applicant gets 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What will happen from there, then we will give them to JJ. She will compile them. We'll have a little break. She will compile them, and then we'll come back and see where we land from there. Vice President Manetto?
Do we have to have 5 people?
No. If you don't have, then you just go 5, 4, 3 if you only have 3. And some of us mentioned names and didn't have 5, and that's okay. But you can go to that point. Other questions? Okay. Now the hard part begins, colleagues. Are you good or not? You still working?
I filled it out.
Okay, you're good. Okay, we're going to be on break after that anyway. Is it on the, turn the mic on, please, so that way everybody can hear.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if this is allowed or not, but let's say I didn't have a 5th person, but I wanted to give someone the 2 points and the 1 point.
That's not allowed.
I can't do that. Okay.
That's not allowed.
I tried.
That's called a 3. If you.
It is also called a 3.
Yes, that's called a 3.
Forgive me for trying.
Okay, we'll be on recess. Well, let's take a 10-minute break. Once the last one's in, we'll take a 10-minute break and then go from there.
JJ, you get my email?
I think you're working with JJ on that, right, too? I see, yes, legal has nodded that he received your email, so. Neil asked me to give him a minute before he comes back down. Neil asked me to give him a minute before he comes back down. We're just waiting for legal counsel to come back down. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Sorry for the delay, but this is a work day in the district, so sometimes that happens. Okay, call this meeting back to order, and we'll go right to JJ for the votes. And then from here, once we get the votes, from here, we will make decisions as to what our next steps will be. Go ahead, JJ.
Trustee Smith, Jack Heineman, 5. Scott Benton, 4. Elvira Diaz, 3. Adam Mayberry, 2. Nicole Perez, 1.
Could you repeat that?
Jack Heineman, 5. Scott Benton, 4. Elvira Diaz, 3. Adam Mayberry, 2. Nicole Perez, 1. Jeff Church, Jack Heineman, 5. Adam Mayberry, 4. John Galtney, 3. Jennifer Fonda, 2. John Reyes, 1. Ellen Minetto, Jack Heineman, 5. John Reyes, 4. Adam Mayberry, 3. Scott Benton, 2.
One more time, please. I'm sorry.
Jack Heineman, 5. John Reyes, 4. Adam Mayberry, 3. Scott Benton, 2. Angela Taylor, Jack Heineman, 5. Adam Mayberry, 4. Elvira Diaz, 3. John Galtney, 2. Jennifer Fonda, 1. Diane Nicolette, Adam Mayberry, 5. John Galtney, 4. Jack Heineman, 3. Jennifer Fonda, 2. Elvira Diaz, 1. Joe Rodriguez, Nicole Perez, 5. Jack Heineman, 4. Adam Mayberry, 3. John Galtney, 2. Jennifer Fonda, 1.
Okay.
The totals are as follows. Jack Heineman, 27. Adam Mayberry, 21. John Galtney, 11. Elvira Diaz, 7. Scott Benton, 6. Jennifer Fonda, 6. Nicole Perez, 6. John Reyes, 5.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we see our numbers before us, and our next step will be to decide who our finalists will be. We can look at our numbers. I mean, there's a pretty clean break, but we can certainly decide as a not but and. It's not a but, it's an and we decide what our next step should be, what the appropriate next step should be as a board. So I'll open it up for comments, suggestions. Trustee Church?
I don't mind going first this time. Would I be correct that we can't narrow it to one candidate?
Oh, we can, but we didn't say we were going to select someone, so we cannot.
Then I think there's a clear cut between Mr. Mayberry and Heineman at the top, because as much as I like Mr. Gwaltney, he had almost half of Mr. Mayberry. So I think the top two, in my opinion.
Thank you, Trustee Church. Other comments? Or I see Trustee Nicolette, Vice President Minetto.
Thank you, Madam President. I would concur with that.
Okay, thank you so much. Trustee Smith?
I'd like to see us advance the top 4. I recognize that there's only 1 point difference between the 7, and then we've got a 3-way tie for 6. But I want to be really clear here that our own Trustee Rodriguez was also not necessarily the top vote getter, and I believe we all value him as a colleague. I think that this is an important first step of the process in the in-person round. We've got their applications, they've come and they've spoken. But the interview is a very different thing. And so I would ask my colleagues to consider 4 finalists based on points. That would be Jack Heineman, Adam Mayberry, Mr. Gwaltney, John Gwaltney, and Elvira Diaz. That would be the 4.
Thank you, Trustee Smith.
And if my math is wrong on that, please gut check me.
I think that's according to all the notes we have. Trustee Rodriguez?
I said this before the last run. I would agree. I think I would say at least 3. It was 3. I'm not opposed to 4. I do understand that the top 2 have 27 to 21 points. That is pretty significant, but I would value the interviews where you kind of gives it a little bit more into the person, and I would value having a couple more options.
Thank you, Trustee Rodriguez. Dr. Nicolette?
I think everything said so far is reasonable, and I'm flexible.
Okay, then that being the case, looking for a motion from the floor. And we'll see where we land from a motion standpoint and go from there. Trustee Smith?
I'm happy to make a motion. For item 2.01, review and discussion by the Board of Trustees regarding the applications received, I move that we move the following 4 individuals to the in-person public interview round. Those 4 individuals are Jack Heineman, Adam Mayberry, John Gwaltney, and Elvira Diaz.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I see you, Trustee Rodriguez. There's a second. Okay, any further discussion? Trustee Church?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do the math, but it's like the top 2 have more than the remaining 6 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm leaning strongly to the top 2. I'd lean to the top 3, except for Mr. Gwaltney said, don't waste his time if we're really not sure. So I'm going to be a no.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Church. Other discussion? All right. Seeing none, we will go to a vote. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Opposition?
No.
Okay, there's a split vote. Okay, so let's keep working. Let's keep working. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm an aye. I'll be an aye. I'm an aye. I'm an aye. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, that's 4-2. My bad. I put me on the wrong side. No, I put me on the wrong side.
Well, that's still okay, but I was trying to...
No, I put me on the wrong side. That's 4-2. Okay, 4-2. Then 4-2. That's looks like what we have is we have a motion to go forward with the top 4: Heineman, Mayberry, Gwaltney, and Diaz. Those will be the 4 finalists. So congratulations to the 4 of you. For those that were not selected, please, I know Dr. Nicolette said this earlier, please certainly, there are committee opportunities that we want to get you involved in that makes a difference. That helps you get continue to get involved with the district and get a chance to get a little closer and get more involved. We can keep you in mind. Opportunities do come up, and so we'd love to have you do that. So as we know, as a reminder to our trustees then, as we just wrap this piece of the agenda up, we will meet on November 9th for interviews. We have 4 interviews. Interviews are typically 30 minutes apiece, so let's make that at 10 a.m. as well, just to make sure we have the... Isn't it November 9th? Mm-hmm. You're looking at me, JJ? What?
Based on the published announcement, can we start later?
Based on the published... I'm not sure what that means. He's looking at you.
What's the
Counsel?
Yeah, what's the published? I'm trying to find it. What's the published announcement in the paper?
Yes.
What's it say? Does it say 8 a.m.? What's it say?
Hang on.
That's what I'm trying to find.
Well, while she looks up that in terms of start time, as a reminder, questions come from trustees. Questions must be submitted to JJ by Friday. By this Thursday. Okay, submit, remember, 2 questions, your first question, then your second one, just in case there's some duplication, so that we still have that list, and we'll ask those questions as they come. 30-minute interviews. During those times, then we deliberate and vote until we land on a colleague. Something else from the messaging so we can make sure everyone knows what time? The date is November 9th. That was already determined. Mm-hmm. All right. As she looks for that, what we will do we have any public comment?
We do not. The notice was 8 a.m.
The notice was 8 a.m. was already noticed, so we will meet at 8 a.m. on the 9th. The notice was 8 a.m. So we meet at 8 a.m. on November 9th to make our final selection. So to those candidates, those finalists, again, congratulations. We'll see you right here at 8 a.m. on November 9th. Again, interview process, and just for those candidates who are here, it's an open meeting. It's a special meeting, but it's an open meeting, of course. And so you're able to stay in the room when you aren't being interviewed. However, we ask that you will not, because the questions we ask you during the interview process. So we'll have a room. We'll ask that you leave your phone, because we know there'll be people very helpful. Hey, they're going to ask about, and we don't want that. They're trying to be very helpful, right? But they will ask that you leave your phone. Staff works on that, and there'll be a place for you to just kind of sit and chill. There'll be at least water, maybe snacks, while we do the interview process. Once you've been interviewed, you're certainly welcome to stay in the room. But before then, we ask that you not, if you would. I think that should cover all the details on that. 8 a.m. on November 9th. We did have no public comment, so the meeting is adjourned. And again, I say that a lot of times, I'll say it again. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We really do. We really do. Thank you. And a special kudos to those, this is your first time out. Thank you for putting your toe in the water.